Pacific Islanders have always had to contend with natural disasters. But some of the most severe typhoons in recorded history struck the region during this period. In April 1905, a major typhoon ravaged Pohnpei, wiping out so much of the housing and crops that people found it easier to report what was left standing than what was destroyed. A German administrator reported,
"In a few hours, the violent typhoon transformed the luxuriant island into a desolate field of debris. The event was so fast and the destruction so complete that it was like a bad dream. The colony was razed nearly to the ground, except for a few jutting remains and the strong walls surrounding it. The economic prospects of Pohnpei seem desperate. Trade is destroyed for years." German report, Deutsches Kolonialblatt, 1905.
The German government, seeing this as an opportunity to advance their disarmament program, offered Pohnpeians canned meat and rice in exchange for their rifles and shells. Hundreds of starving people from the surrounding atolls of Pingalap and Mokiel were relocated on Pohnpei. That same year, another massive typhoon struck Jalowit, wiping out many of the trading firms' buildings and leaving the island in ruins. Then, in 1907, an even stronger typhoon hit the Mortlock Islands. Huge waves broke over the tiny island of Ta, sweeping away 200 people. Within a few months, German ships evacuated nearly 1,500 destitute Mortlockese, resettling them on Saipan and Chuuk. 2 years later, many of the Mortlockese were relocated on Pohnpei, where they were given land and food in return for their labor. They were the nucleus of the first Mortlockese community there, a community that would expand in years to come. Just weeks later, in 1907, the same typhoon ravaged Wolai and other outliers of Yap. As the typhoon winds howled and giant waves washed over the island, people found what refuge they could. A German physician on Wolai at the time described the horror they endured.
"There was a house on a little knoll in which a large crowd of screaming and weeping islanders had taken refuge. Some of the women were singing shrill death laments in their distress. If the sea reached this part of the island too, we were lost." Dr. Born, German physician, 1907.
More than 230 people on Wolai were swept away to their death. The islands stricken by the typhoon were stripped of trees, and the people dazed by what they had experienced. More homeless and hungry people. More people to be relocated. The Germans were forced to take many of the islanders to Saipan for resettlement. But these were only the first of many forced relocations to occur under foreign rule.